Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you a walk around of the 458 and the GT3 and talk about some of the differences between the carbon bucket seats, the frunk, and the engine bay of both cars. Okay guys, here are the two in the garage, 458 GT3, and let's start with the carbon bucket seats in the Ferrari. All right, so we got full bucket seats. Now these particular bucket seats in the Ferrari, they do slide forward and back. One nice feature is you can actually pull this here and it'll fold forward. So that's a real nice feature. Not that you got a whole bunch of space back here, but you can easily get to this little space back here, which is not very much. But check out those full carbon bucket seats. Real nice. So no power adjustment whatsoever in these. Beautiful black Nero leather with white contrast stitching. Real nice. Okay, let's go take a look at the GT3 bucket seats. All right, so these buckets in the GT3, you have Alcantara inserts all the way up, and then you got black leather with gray contrast stitching. Real nice. Now, unlike the bucket seats in the 458, I do not have a grab handle in the back here to tilt the buckets forward. They're fixed. So the only way you get access to the back is right there. You will see a lever. You have to pull that lever up, and then you can move the full seat up, or you can slide it back. Now, one nice feature that the GT3 has is this has this little button right here where you can actually raise the buckets up or lower the buckets back down. Other than that, you can slide it forward, you can slide it back. There's no tilt, but you can raise or lower the bucket seat with this little button. So that's a nice feature there. All right, well, let's move on to the frunk. And while we're at the GT3, let's do that one first. So you pull this little lever right here, give a little snap there. We'll walk around to the front here. And here it is. Little red tab right there. You simply push it and bring it up. So here's the front for the GT3, which is pretty spacious. You can get probably 2 carry-on bags in there. You couldn't get a full-size set of luggage in there, but you can get 2 carry-ons, maybe a couple duffel bags. Certainly for everyday use, you can go to the grocery store, you can haul around a few things. So decent space. Well, let's go to the 458's front. Now I got the key, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the key to gain access to the front of the 458. There we go. Just heard the pop there. Same concept. There's a little red lever in here. You just push it to the left and you raise the lid. Okay, there we go. So as you guys can see, much more space up top, which narrows down at the bottom, but it's certainly a little bit more space in the 458's front than it is in the GT3. I had a little accident here and this little sucker broke. I have a new one in, just gotta get it installed. I believe I gotta move the entire tub in order to fix this. So one of my projects I gotta work on. The other one's in place here. So yeah, looks like you can put quite a bit of luggage. You probably can get a full luggage set in this one, especially using the wider top portion of the cargo holder here. And then as you get down to the bottom, it does get narrower. So those are your two fronts. Decent space, GT3. Little bit more space in the 458. All right, guys, well, let's move on then to the rear lid where that beautiful V8 engine is in the Ferrari. So this little guy here, you hit it, you can hear the click, and then you just simply go around to the back here, and there she is. Naturally aspirated V8 engine. And as you can see here, you can see quite a bit of this glorious beast. Yes, you can. Now, this particular car here is a mid-engined Ferrari. So what that means is the engine itself is in front of the rear axle. So the rear axle, excuse me, is right here. And then here's your engine. So that's your mid-engine in front of the rear axle. But yeah, man, got quite a bit spacious. You know, you can see really good. So let's move on to the GT3. Go ahead and pop it. There you go. You hear the sound of it there. Let's move on around here. Now, a little bit different in the GT3. Whoa, that puppy's heavy too. A little bit different in the GT3. Pretty much everything's covered up. So you got a true rear engine, naturally aspirated flat six. Look at this nice carbon fiber plate right here that they have over the engine bay here. Real nice. That's awesome. So you got your fans and all that. And really you can't even see the flat six engine. Some other things right here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, this right here is a rear engine because the engine is behind the rear axle. So you got over here a mid-engine because of the engine being in front of the rear axle. And then with the GT3, rear engine because the engine sits behind the rear axle. So just for you guys who wanted to know the difference between rear engine and mid-engine. All right, so that's your difference there in the two engine bays. Obviously with the 458, you can see this glorious naturally aspirated V8. You got the window here, the glass, whereby you can see in. So that's nice. So when this is closed as such, boom, you can just look in and it's awesome. Nice Ferrari badge right there. And you can't see anything here. Nothing at all. Also, notice on the GT3, you got this big old wang right here, which is a big aid in downforce. Whereas with the 458, you have no wing. So the downforce comes from this huge diffuser right here. See that huge diffuser? That's where your downforce, most of your downforce comes into play with this guy right here, since you don't have the big wing up top here like you do on the GT3. Now the GT3 does have some arrow down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but you can kind of see those blades underneath there. So it does have some arrow, but the bulk of it comes from this big old wing right here. Let's take a look at the front from an aerodynamic standpoint and downforce aids. Obviously, you can see in the front, and I'm not sure what the correct terminology is for these right here, but I call them sort of like gills, or some type of wing in the front here. I'm not sure what the terminology for them would be, but you guys can drop me some comments in the comment box below to let me know what they're actually called. But that aids. Now, if you can see here, you got some cooling ducts here in the GT3, and just the overall sculpture of the GT3, the way it's actually made from an exterior standpoint, you can see that you got these wider hips right here, so airflow can go through here, airflow can come through here and go through these to cool down this flat six engine. Same thing with the 458. You have cooling ducts here for the tires, or I'm sorry, for the brakes, right here on each side. There you go, right there. So those will help cool down the brakes. And then again, you have a duct here. And I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I apologize. This sun is a little hot, but you can see that there. That's another cooling point. And also right here. You can see that one there. I'm not sure. I'm trying to get the camera. There you go. So more cooling ducts there. And then again, over here. And right there again. So both cars certainly got a lot of trick to them. Ferrari has its method, Porsche has its method, but they both work. They both work no matter how you look at it. They both actually work. Now for me, this one here is your GT car. You can drive it. It's subtle in sport mode. It's fast. It's comfortable. I would much rather take this one on a long trip than I would the GT3. The GT3 is a track-focused car that you can drive on public roads, but it doesn't really have much sound deadening in the cabin. 458 has better sound deadening. This one right here, you're gonna hear everything. You're gonna hear every rattle. Plus you got 305s on the back here. These Dunlap Sport Max Race 2s, very sticky. And then you got the Michelin Pilot Sports on the 458. 295s, by the way. These are 295s. So definitely set up a little bit differently. But buckets are similar. But if we take a look at the buckets one more time, you can see how high the bolsters go up on each side. It's much narrower in the GT3 bucket seats. Again, back to more race inspired bucket seats, as opposed to, let's go take a look at the 458 one more time. As opposed to the 458, where you got good bolsters on either side, but not as high. And this is going to be a little bit more comfortable setup right here in the 458. In my opinion, this is going to be a more GT long trip focused bucket seat, as opposed to these things over here. As opposed to right here, these are for the racetrack. Yeah, this is for you. Yeah, ripping it on the racetrack. That's what these bucket seats are made for in the GT3. Well, okay, guys, I hope that gave you a better understanding of some of the differences between the bucket seats, the frunk, and the engine bay of the 458 and the GT3. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. I hope that you guys liked the video. I know it was a little bit all over the place, but I wanted to at least walk you around it, kind of give you some of the differences in those 3 areas we just talked about. We also talked a little bit about the aerodynamics. We also talked a little bit about mid-engine versus rear engine. I'm no expert, guys, but I'm trying to learn a little bit more of the technical things about these cars because I know that's important to some of you guys. So certainly work with me on this. I'm learning. I'm trying to make sure I understand, at least from a novice standpoint, what these cars are capable of, and not just driving them and not know anything about them. So if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing and share the video. But until the next one, guys, y'all stay peace.